Welcome to the Funny Travel Stories podcast. I'm your host, Yiping Bao. Funny travel moments make a trip memorable, but have you ever thought that your most awkward experience, or even a secondhand embarrassment you felt, might have happened to others as well? Those unplanned, unexpected things that happen on your holiday can still have you giggling in the middle of the night. Each episode, you'll hear my guests share funny travel stories, recommend places they have visited, and tell us about places they can't wait to visit. So, in today's episode, I'm joined by Hime. I remember we first met through my previous job in Taiwan, and also congratulations, you recently got married. That's amazing. That's really lovely. So, would you mind briefly introduce about yourself to me and the listeners?
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Belinda, very much for having me in your podcast. My name is Jimena, but everybody calls me Jime. Just is my short name. I come from Colombia, and I live currently in the Netherlands with my husband. I am an industrial engineer, and I work in the supply chain management of a Dutch multinational e-commerce company. Nowadays, I moved to the Netherlands 3.5 years ago. My job now is pretty much of optimizing, planning, and this kind of things, engineering, industrial engineering, connecting to the logistics world. So that had helped me a lot in my traveling experiences, in planning a trip, moving forward. Yeah, all this logistic that you go through while you are planning a trip, of course. So yeah, travel for me is just something connected to my work, but it still is very different, like in the way that I travel not only to rest, not only for holidays, but I also travel for to understand other cultures. Sometimes you wonder why people behave like this in certain country or in this culture, why they do like that. So when you get to know the culture, when you get mixed with the locals, you in some parts you also educate yourself in a different way. So I think that's the most valuable point for me to travel.
I already agree with you about like a learning experience during your traveling. I
Yes.
think I 100% agree with that. And you are now staying in the Netherlands. I actually I traveled to the Netherlands a few years ago,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering like when you work, do you work from home or do you need to go to office?
I think in most of companies in the Netherlands, you have the opportunity to work a hybrid. Most of companies here, yeah, they have this schedule of you can work 2 days from home and 3 days in office. And that's how I work now.
Okay,
So
because
yeah.
I remember like a lot of people in the Netherlands ride a bike. I really love the vibes. Like a lot of people, even I believe even when it's really cold, they still like cycling, still ride a bike. I never tried riding the bike in the Netherlands, but I tried riding the bike in Copenhagen in
Yeah.
Denmark. So do you like ride a bike frequently, very often in the Netherlands?
Every day ever since I arrived. Yeah, that's a culture here. There is a fun fact that is the Netherlands is mainly flat. The land is flat, so that helps also when you don't have like hills or like so.
Upwards.
Yes, exactly. It's easier for you to bike. So the culture here is to bike. I think kids they learn to bike before they learn to walk here. So yeah, you can see little kids of 1.5 years old, and they already got their first bike, and that's part of the culture here. Yes,
Right.
I use my bike every day to go to work, and yeah, I think that is completely normal. It's part of their life here. Doesn't matter
Okay.
if it's raining, doesn't matter if it snows, it doesn't matter how hot it is in the summer. The bike is your life here.
So I believe you also recently went back to the Netherlands from the trip in India. Is it? How was the experience in India? Do you enjoy the time there in India?
Yes, absolutely. It was a very short trip, it was a business trip. It was a very valuable experience in the way that it's such a different world. I imagine India very different in a different way because, I think social media is very, sometimes it points things in another direction. So your expectations are completely misaligned with the reality. I went to this technological city, a lot of foreigners, good restaurants, good places. Of course, it's India, it's chaotic, it's very spicy. The perfumes they use is like they are very strong. So that's also different because, yeah, in this new world that you tend to use or bring things to your life in a minimalistic way, they go in another direction, let's put it that way. But I met amazing people. I booked a very nice hotel, so it was a cultural shock in some way, but on the other hand, it was a very valuable experience for me.
Okay.
Yeah, completely different than expectations.
Yeah, I never been to India, and I imagine it's really busy. Which city do you go?
Hyderabad.
Okay.
That's in the central south part of India. So, yeah, it's a very busy city. Yeah, the transportation system, it's not well structured. So it forces you to use a cab or to book they call it auto, but it's what in Thailand the locals would call a tuk-tuk.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's very difficult to mobilize, to move from a point to the other. I booked a hotel 2 kilometers away from the office, and I remember a time that it took me 28 minutes by car to get to the office. So, not even walking, you would spend that time. But still, walking is not an option because the walking ways there, like the paths are, they don't exist. It's very difficult. You would have to, let's say, walk in between motorcycles, cars, tuk-tuks, and yeah, it can be a little bit dangerous for you,
Yeah.
especially when you are not used to it. So the system forces you somehow to use these transportation means.
I always feel like India is like really, really big. Like a different part of cities have different experience, I suppose. And I have Indian friends. So I
Yeah.
never been there, but I went to somewhere similar, I suppose, Sri Lanka. They also have tuk-tuk, and I feel like it's so different from like what I've been to like European countries, and now I'm in Taiwan. So I feel it's really different in terms of culture and then like the vibes as well. You told me about like the smell and then how they like the living style. I found that's really cool. And I'm just wondering like if you have any like funny travel moments or fun travel experiences you want to share with me and the listeners
In India or in general.
in general.
Yeah, absolutely. Thousands. This story brings me the goosebumps because it's a combination between a funny story, but also a very emotional story. For me, I think I'm gonna give a little bit of background to this story to understand better. So back in the time I used to live in Taiwan when we met. So I met my husband. By then, he was my boyfriend. We created this group of friends. We call it the gang. So the gang was this group of international friends from all over the world. We built very strong connection. It was beautiful. We went to the night market. We were traveling together in that old Volkswagen Kombi of one of my friends. We went to the mountains, we went to the waterfalls, we experienced the island in a very different way because in our group of friends, there were a couple of local people from Kaohsiung. So that was a very interesting way of seeing the other side of Taiwan. Then eventually everybody had to continue their life. They have to leave the island, to move back somewhere else in the world. We spread, but the connection kept. So we kept talking, we kept always mentioning like, hey, when are we going to meet again? With my husband, we used to do a long trip every year, a long trip from 3 to 3.5 weeks, more or less. And by 2024, 3 years after we left Taiwan, we decided to go to Thailand. And we asked our group of friends, the gang, if they would like to meet there. So some of them could make it. So we met with some friends, local friends from Thailand, some friends also traveling from Taiwan, some friends traveling from Europe. The meeting point was Bangkok. It was amazing. It was beautiful because you feel when you meet them that time never passed, that we got stuck in the time. You feel the same vibe. You don't feel awkwardness. You don't feel strange. You feel the connection is still there. And just my memories are about laughter and about good vibes and about really nice food. Of course, remembering all the stories back in Taiwan. So yeah, we met for 3 days. We were like experiencing Bangkok during those 3 days. Yeah, the last day we met for dinner and we knew that that would be our last day, at least for that year. So it was a combination of, okay, we are starting our trip. We will keep traveling, my husband and me. We will keep traveling Thailand, but still is that mixed feeling that you have to say goodbye, and saying goodbye is never easy. Yeah, that night we went for dinner. We went to a Korean barbecue. Everywhere in the world, Korean barbecue is a top. It's very good. So we went for some food and then we decided to go for some drinks. And there the story started. One drink brings you the next one and making a new plan. And that feeling, like you are saying goodbye, you don't know when you are going to see them again, but still you have the hope you will see them again. That brought us to another place, and another place, and another place. And we were like, okay, already at that time calculating, okay, if we go now, we will spend half an hour on the way, and then we can sleep 5 hours. But if we stay half an hour more, then we can sleep 4.5 hours before our next flight, our next connection. We were flying from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, to the north. We were like planning in our heads how the trip would go, the next step. But unfortunately, it didn't come as we expected. So yes, I'm a planner. Yes, I'm an industrial engineer. Yes, I tend to be very punctual and very methodic with my travel planning. But the next day, when I woke up, I grabbed my phone and it was 11 in the morning. And our flight was at 12 at noon. So, of course, I panic. I woke up my husband like, hey, baby, we missed the flight. And he was like, no, we are on time. No, it's 11. He was like, what? He jumped out of that bed, like, yes, like trying to get ready, like just by instinct, trying to get ready, trying to arrange everything. And he was brushing his teeth a minute later. And I was like, no, we are not going to make it. We were an hour away from the airport. And yes, yeah, it's impossible. We were already late and we lost the flight. Yeah. So we just sat together, we stared at each other, we sat on the bed and we stared at each other and we were like, yeah, no, that's us. Yeah, we are a mess, but I'm a mess, but I'm your mess. So yes, that was the experience. Of course, nobody wants to miss a flight, but if you ask me, and if I look back on that last day with my friends, it was just it was just perfect. I don't regret. I
Yeah.
don't regret anything, even though I still have like flashbacks in parts of the story, the way back to the hotel. I don't completely remember. We were just like in the excitement of the moment, but all what I can remember is happiness. So for me, is just a flight. It was just a flight. Yes. Then we finished packing everything, packing our stuff. And yeah, we headed to the airport to look for another flight for that day.
Good memories meant a lot. Like, I feel you could book the flight. If you missed the flight, you could book it. But good memories is priceless. Like, you cannot
Yeah,
replace good memories with anything. So I feel you told me like you are not regret. I feel like not only that's already great memories and you will not forget the trip in Thailand also.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that experience also taught me something very important, and it's like in my professional life, for example, efficiency is everything. I think in here, not only in my professional life, but in the work, let's say, environment here in the Netherlands, efficiency is the key. But traveling is not only about, and it's not always about efficiency. It's about connection. It's
Yeah.
about the relationships and friendships you build on the way. That's one of the most valuable things you can experience when you travel and when you move to another country. So living abroad is also a way for you to grow in ways maybe you never even could imagine. And also traveling brings you to persons that you never in this world could imagine you would meet. So I think that's the whole point of this. It's building connections. It's learning about even historical facts that brings people to behave in a certain way. And then when you travel and when you speak with locals, you understand, for example, these kind of things. Okay, maybe you don't share, but still you understand why. And that's beautiful.
Yeah, as you mentioned about this, you make me think of like the experience of you moving from Colombia to the Netherlands. Will you feel like how significant about like the experience? Will you share about like some like cultural difference or like your connections with local if you don't mind sharing with
Yeah,
us?
yeah. Yes, of course. I come from Colombia. My Latin culture is completely different than the Asian culture or the Taiwanese culture itself. And both of them are completely different to the Dutch culture. So those were two shakes on myself, my personality, my lifestyle, my perception of the world. So when I decided to move to Taiwan, I had the chance to move to Spain as well. And yeah, I went to do my master and I was like, yeah, okay, I have Spain. I speak Spanish. That's going to be the easiest one. I could get to travel a little bit Europe. It's going to be fine. But I said like, yeah, okay, but it's Spain. Yeah, I can do it anytime. Let's go for the challenge. Let's go for Taiwan. I don't speak Mandarin. I don't speak Chinese. I don't speak yeah, Taiwanese, even less. Yes, let's go with my English and let's go and let's see what happens. So when you travel and when you move, I think when you move, you have different stages in the experience it's built according to how those stages developed. So the first stage is you are new, you are the foreigner, everything is new, everything is an adventure for you, everything is fantastic. Getting the driver license in Taiwan, having your own scooter, going to the night markets, if you are in the town, going to the waterfalls, going to the mountains. Kaohsiung, it's a seaport, so going to the beach. I used to live 20 minutes by scooter from the beach, so you have the beach always there, and that's amazing. That's amazing. I think everyone in this world should have experienced at least living for 1 or 2 years in a place nearby the ocean. So yes, the first part, the first, let's say, stage of you moving abroad is this amazing. You discover new things you like. Then it comes the difficult part when you have to adapt and when you realize that your life is there now, when you have to get to know the norms, the regulations, when you have to respect the culture, maybe building connections because you feel that you are not from there, but maybe somehow if you go back to your country, you are not from your country anymore. And then nowhere is home. And you are lost in the middle of this globe. So after you build your connections, your own connections, I think that makes your life easier. That's the way for you to realize that you are doing well and that you are building something there. The connections with friends, connections with local people, connections with foreigners, supporting each other, being the rock of each other when the existentialism comes. Yeah, that's something very valuable to have. And then it comes the difficult part when you have to live. When you have to live for any reason you have, because you have to move forward, because you found a job, because your family is expecting you on the other side of the world. Yeah, I come from Colombia. Colombia is here. Taiwan is on the other side of the globe. So that took me at least one traveling day and like sometimes multiple connections to go back to my country and to visit my family. So yeah, I cannot describe that feeling. Like when you are living, it's like you are living part of you, part of your heart, part of your emotions, part of your life that you built. You are saying goodbye to that. And you are saying also welcome to new things, welcome to new opportunities, new challenges, new trips, new friends. But absolutely building a life in a foreign land, it's never easy. It's never easy. And once you settle down, once you feel that you belong, once you find your spot in that new country, it starts to feel again like home.
Like you are used to their culture, used to how their living style as well, and the foods, like every different aspect. And then you
Yes,
have to say
exactly.
goodbye to that as well. Your husband, is it from the Netherlands?
Mm-hmm.
So would
Yes.
you do you recommend any like traditional Dutch foods, like traditional foods from the Netherlands? Like any I'm not really familiar with Dutch food.
Yeah. Okay, what happens here, they
Okay.
have some traditional, like very small traditional dishes, but I think the Dutch cuisine is more worldwide. They eat international food, more international food. They can eat Chinese, they can eat like some risotto, or they can eat like, I don't know, some tacos. It's very difficult to say something in particular, but if
Yeah.
we specifically speak about Dutch food, yeah, they have stamppot, that is like a mashed potatoes, usually with something on top, like maybe some vegetables or some addition. They have fries, French fries. They eat fries, I think, 4 out of 7 days in the week. That's the basis of the Dutch cuisine, I think.
Yeah, I feel it's a bit similar to the UK. Like, although UK they have those traditional like a Sunday roast or like Scotch egg, but I feel like normally people go out to eat out restaurants. I remember when I went to the Netherlands, I feel their fish, like the seafood, the fish is really fresh. And I'm just wondering if you have any other like funny travel moments you want to share with me.
Yes, we have had a lot. Coming back to Chiang Mai, then we booked this, was like an Airbnb, and we were sure that our next flight, because from that point we had to fly to Suratani. We were going all the way south to the islands. So we flew from Chiang Mai to Suratani, but in our minds, we were completely sure that our flight was the day after. Then we woke up a day after a party because it's Thailand. And then, yeah, what time is it? Yeah, okay. I just asked randomly, honey, do you know what time is the flight tomorrow? And he was like, oh, I don't know. I think it's in the morning, but let me check. He was checking. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, what happened? The flight is today and we have to leave now. So we were about to lose the second flight of that trip. And we were just like laughing. We were like, no, it's not possible. What happened with us? This is not normal. So yeah, we almost lose the second flight. We didn't. Luckily, we made it to the airport. And yeah, like this, we have had different experiences traveling. Some of them are not so nice. Some of them are fantastic. Some of them are very remarkable. I think the most important thing is that you feel that you are enjoying the trip in your way. If you want, for example, for me, it's very difficult to understand the culture of some families or some people. I have seen that very often here in the Netherlands, for example. They go on holidays every year to the same place, and they have been doing the same for the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years, 10 years. And you go to the same hotel, you meet the same people, you already know all the stories from the owner, you saw the kids the owner raised, like, okay, it's something very familiar, but it's just jumping and falling on the same spot. You are not moving, you are not learning, you are not feeding yourself with new stories to tell. But for me, it's more like I want more. I feel hungry of experiencing new things. I want more. I want to go to other countries, to different things, and to learn new things. So yeah, that's more or less my perception of traveling, like learning as well.
Right. It sounds like Thailand is so fun. Like you missed the flight twice. It's
Yes, it's very fun. And the fun just was starting by then because from Suratani, we took a ferry that brought us to one of the islands, to Koh Tao. That's a fantastic place. It's small. You can rent a bike. You find a lot of foreigners there. You find tour guides in all the possible languages, even in Dutch, Spanish, English. Yeah. It's a very peaceful place. It's a very beautiful place.
yeah.
We stood at this hotel, not so expensive for the view it offered. The sunsets were amazing. The water crystal clear. It was beautiful. It was fantastic.
Were you there during summer?
No, not actually. It was in October,
Okay.
October 2024. Yes. Thailand offers a lot. Bangkok, for example, as a big city because it's really big. Then you can move all the way north to Chiang Mai, and it's a more spiritual place. You get connections, you get connected. You do, for example, these tours to the waterfalls or to different temples. It's beautiful if you are interested. For me, it was one of the main points of going to Thailand, visiting a sanctuary, an elephant sanctuary. That was beautiful. It's unbelievable. They are so huge and they are so calm and they are so lovely. Of course, they have been trained for that, but it's so beautiful the way how they take care of their nature, how they are not caught, they have freedom, but they have a methodic way of living. And then you can go after that, maybe that's how we planned the trip, for example. We flew all the way to the south, to the islands. So we visited two islands. Koh Phangan, that is a bigger island. It has a lot of things to offer as well, but Koh Tao was my favorite one. It's smaller, you can find whatever you want there. It's just a fantastic place. It's beautiful.
Wow, I've never been to Thailand. It sounds like a really nice place to visit.
Yeah,
Like, oh, I just imagine I feel it's like heaven, so beautiful, the way you describe it. I'm just
exactly.
wondering, like, among those places you have traveled before, is there any specific place or places you want to recommend to me and the listeners?
Wow. Yeah. I have to say that I'm Colombian. I love my country and I'm absolutely proud of being Colombian. But beyond that, it's all what Colombia offers. It offers it all in a single place. If you want snow, you can get snow. If you want a desert experience, you can find it. We have a beautiful place called Tatacoa that has like those huge terracotta dunes. It's so beautiful. If you want to experience the jungle, you can perfectly experience the jungle. If you want something more spiritual, like getting in touch, for example, with the indigenous people, to getting like this kind of spiritual tours, you can make it. If you want beach, you can have beach. It's a country that geographically it's connected. We have the Pacific Ocean and we have the Caribbean as well. So both of them are beautiful. In both of them, you can find fantastic places. You can experience Bogota. Bogota is a metropolis. It's a very big city with a lot of things to offer, rich in culture, rich in history as well. We have a lot of museums, a lot of beautiful places. Monserrate, it's a huge mountain. It's next to the city. And from the city, you can see the mountain, and on the top, you can find a church. So it's a very beautiful place. And on top of that, I got married with my husband last year in Colombia. So why Colombia? First, of course, because it's my country, now our country. But second of all, is because of the people. You know, that connection, how Colombians are. They are so open, they are so welcome, they are so warm that you feel familiarity, you feel the connection, the instant connection. So that's sometimes very difficult to find in other places you travel with. People, they don't care about the tourists, they don't care about you, they don't care if you come from here or from there. You are a person and you are a stranger. Colombians are always welcome. They help you. If you are lost, they will, okay, you don't know where it is? Come, I will take you there. I will bring you there. Additionally, Colombia is the first country in the south of America. So Cartagena is on the Caribbean coast and is the point where many flights land, because for backpackers it's a strategic point to start traveling all the way south. So that also makes Colombia a very attractive place to start, for example, backpacking.
The last question I want to ask you is there any place or places you haven't been to before, but you really want to go there in the future? You really want to travel there so bad?
Yes, a lot. I think that there are a lot of places I really, want to go. For example, it's a very remote place, but part of our gang, the international group of friends from Taiwan, we have a very lovely friend. He is from the Solomon Islands. It's very difficult to go there, but that's absolutely on our list. And one way or another, we know we will plan that trip later, maybe 2 or 3 years. I think every trip brings you new people, new experiences, but also new people to your life. For example, I remember I went to Lanzarote. So we met this family, two sisters traveling. One of them was on her 40s and the other one was on her 50s, heading 60s. So very mature, but very outgoing. One of them had her son with them, also grown son, and it was very nice. They are from somewhere in Scotland, and the connection was amazing. Even though we were not living the same point in life, we are younger. Maybe they thought we wanted to party every night. Okay, we did, maybe, but still we were staying at the same resort. So it was beautiful. And now from time to time we speak to each other and hey, yes, we have to go there and we have to visit you. And like this, we have many other friends that we have met in our trips, and then that people brings you to places maybe you could never imagine you would visit. Yeah, and that's the whole point of this. The net keeps growing, and the net keeps growing and growing, and there is never enough time, enough holidays, or maybe enough money either to travel as you wish.
Right. That sounds so nice. Like, so you also want to visit them in Scotland as well in the future?
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we have a list of different places. We are planning our next trip. So my best friend is getting married in Argentina. She lives in
Yeah.
Argentina. She's Colombian and she's marrying an Argentinian. And in April we will fly from Amsterdam to Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Yeah.
We will meet some friends we have there, and then we will fly from Sao Paulo to Buenos Aires, where the wedding will be. And the cherry of the cake, it's we will be in South America. Therefore, I got this idea to ask my parents, why not? You can join us after the wedding, and we can travel a little bit together. So they decided, and we already got flight tickets for them, and they will join us to the second part of the trip, that is partly Argentina and partly in Brazil.
Wow, that's lovely. And so have you been to Scotland before?
Never, never.
I went there, Edinburgh, Scotland. I feel Scotland is so different from England. I feel it's so beautiful and people are nice. Compare, I feel like my experience, like people were trying to help you in Scotland. The building is so different. Like the building, it's those like traditional British vibes. It's different from the modern one in London. I feel like I could relate it to what you told me about like the connections during your travel and you want to visit their countries as well. Because recently I did my solo traveling to Hungary, Budapest, and I met two girls. Those two girls also, they are solo travelers, one from Italy and one from Georgia. I recently went to Italy, and because of meeting them, I also want to go to Georgia in the future. I feel I just knew like Georgia was in Central European countries. I just knew at the time, and I feel like, oh, I have like connections and I want to visit there at some point. So I understood about like you told me about like connections during your travel and you want to visit their country as well. That's really
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, amazing. Glad to hear. Yes, I think you can also tell me about this feeling when you finish a trip that you feel like heartbroken because it's over, but then you are already in your mind thinking, okay, what's next? What is going to be my next motivation to work hard, to save money, and to say like, okay, let's get tickets. Yeah, and I think yeah, that's an endless.
Exploring.
Yeah, exploring. That's an endless way of living, like of planning your life and your future.
Like the memories will stay with
When
us.
you, yeah, exactly. When you live this plane, when you live this world, you just take with you what you lived, what you ate, what you discovered, what your eyes could see, what your eyes could experience. Sometimes you are like, oh my God, I'm so amazed of a place that I can't believe I'm here. And I'm
Yeah.
so grateful with life because I'm living this.
I feel like it's kind of inspiring, like the chat with you, and I found it so fun. And then I like the way you described Colombia, Thailand. I found those places are beautiful. I feel like I want to travel there at some point. And towards the end of this episode, I really appreciate you. Thank you for spending your time, and like the time difference, we have to kind of communicate as well. I really appreciate you spend your time to join this episode, and thank you very much.
No, thank you very much for having me today.